Now, before we go, there have been huge protests in Sri Lanka demanding the resignation of the Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. He finally resigned 2 days ago and he's now been moved to a naval base for his safety. Now, I've spoken about these thugs before, the Rajapaksas. This family are a political dynasty in Sri Lanka. Quite frankly, Sri Lankans need to boot this mob out. In 2020, they won an overwhelming majority in Sri Lanka's elections. So Gotabaya Rajapaksa became the president of Sri Lanka. He then appointed his brother Mahinda to be the Prime Minister. And then came the cabinet appointments. This Mahinda made himself the Finance Minister, the Urban Development Minister, and the Buddhist Affairs Minister. His son was appointed Youth and Sports Minister. Mahinda's lawyer, the Justice Minister. President Gotabaya, Defence Minister. The eldest brother Shamal, the Irrigation Minister. The nephew, the State Agriculture Minister. You get the picture? It's an eye-watering amount of power and, dare I say, a green light for corruption. There wouldn't be a federal ICAC big enough for this mob, but it's not the first time for the Rajapaksas. They initially ruled Sri Lanka from 2005 to 2015. During the 5 years hiatus, 2015 to 2020, the constitution was changed to ensure presidential powers were trimmed, such as limiting presidential terms to 2 and creating independent oversight bodies. Well, the Rajapaksas objected to these democratic changes and launched a relentless political comeback. Their changes have meant creating an executive presidency that granted Gotabaya control over the appointment of ministers, judges, and the heads of various nominally independent commissions. Well, now the public will wake up to this lot. Sri Lankans blame the Rajapaksa dynasty for a meltdown in the country that has reduced reserves to just about US $50 million, stalling imports and causing massive shortages of food, fuel and medicine. Last month, Sri Lanka admitted it could no longer service its foreign debt. The country is broke. The discontent has unleashed widespread protest which killed 9 people. Shops and businesses have been shut by curfew. The army have been deployed to keep the peace and troops have been ordered to shoot at anyone damaging public property or threatening lives. There are soldiers in armoured vehicles patrolling the streets of Colombo, the country's commercial capital. The Rajapaksas and the country are now out of options. The government will have to slash spending and raise taxes, further eroding Sri Lankans' standard of living, even as inflation bites. It is a mess. But what do they say? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Well, that's it from me tonight. Thanks for joining us at adh.tv, where it's free to watch Alan Jones at 8 o'clock Monday to Thursday. I'll see you Monday night. Good night.